Alright folks, this is my first update in a wee while. I've not really been up to the garage much, but I got my enamel paint that I mentioned in my last video. So I've been, basically been painting a lot. So I'm sure you don't want to see a lot of videos about painting, right? So this is where we are at the moment. Most of the painting's now done. As you can see, the enamel is significantly lighter than the undercoat, but I actually quite like it. You know, it's when I first saw it, I thought, oh, that's going to be too light. But when I see it, yeah, I like it. You know, so I'm quite pleased. So I've still got to paint the base. The rest of the parts have been done. And when I say I've still got to paint the base, I have actually done the underside as well already. You know, I did that first. So, yeah. The other thing I've done is I've gotten the... Right. Oh, lovely, aye. Too good for work and anyway. So I got this chuck here cleaned up. Now, in the last video the teeth weren't very clear, and as you can see here I've got them clean now, and you can see that they're just all, they're buggered, you know. I'm going to go and look for a new chuck, because this one's really, you know, past its best. So I'll keep it as a spare, as a backup, you know. Not done anything to the drill itself. That's been just sort of sitting there really, to be honest with you. I have made a start on the motor though, and I'll just show you that in a second, if you give me a moment. Right, okay, this is the motor, right? What can I say? It's a fucking electric motor with a pulley on the end of the shaft, right? I don't want to belabor the point here, yeah? I like fixing up stuff, I like restoring stuff, I like making sure it's all going to work and be reliable for my own use, yeah? I'd get bored if I was restoring motors all day long, 7 days a week or 5 days a week, yeah? I like to do new things, you know, take on new challenges and be constantly learning something new, yeah? That being said, I do like tinkering with motors and engines and, you know, the usual sort of stuff, eh lads? You know what I'm talking about. Now, I came up here last night to take this pulley off, yeah? I was a little bit concerned about it because, you know, these things are quite brittle, eh? I've got a cheap set of pullers here which do fit, but they only just on the outer pulley, yeah? But of course, because the pulley's recessed, I didn't have the travel on the shaft here off the pulley to put any pressure on the shaft of the motor. So I just used a small spacer to put some pressure on there, yeah. And before I started to put any pressure on the motor, I'd kind of given the shaft a slight scrape with just this, you know, sharpened up hacksaw blade to get the worst of the rust off, okay. And initially I put it hand tight, you know, just to get a bit of pressure on it and get it all adjusted so there's an even torque, I guess, on all three lifting points, and it'll make sure that the spacer was in line with the shaft of the pulley and that, you know, just getting it all adjusted. Now I try to be methodical and I try to be accurate and I try to, you know, keep my workplace clean, and that's a constant struggle, okay. And last night I made a slight mistake. Yeah, it's not a big deal. It's nothing's broken, nothing's damaged. But I failed to clean the entire. Sorry, pointing in the wrong place there. The entire length of the shaft that was protruding from the top of the pulley. Now, as you can see here, I've got what, maybe 1/4 of an inch movement there, yeah. And you know, the pulley went pretty tight on me, yeah. You know, or sorry, the pullers were quite tight getting, and I wasn't getting any movement. So I used a small gas torch, one of these little butane things. You know, they don't give a lot of heat, but you know, in a lot of cases, you get enough out of it to help. Yeah. So put some heat on it, and then I got a bit of movement, and she was coming quite nicely there. You know, she was as I was tightening up the shaft on the pulley, or the pullers rather, she was slowly creeping upwards. Now it is a keyed shaft, yeah. I'm hoping it's not a wedge, yeah, but I don't think it is. When I spray around here, the water, the lucent seems to drain down through a gap between the edge of the pulley here and the top of the key. So I don't think it's a wedged key that's in there. Now, she came up quite nicely to this point, and then she started getting really fucking tight. Okay, so I never cleaned all the way up to the top or the end of the shaft here, so I'm thinking it's just the dirt and corrosion starting to wedge and causing interference on between the shaft and the pulley. So I'm just going to have to tap this back down, clean it up proper, and then try it again. So that's where I am with that. Little things, I guess, that take your time, eh? You got to be careful, because if I break that, I'll not get a replacement easily. I'd probably have to buy it new, and that would be, I don't know, 30 quid maybe, 40 quid, I don't know. You want to be cheap. Mine's fucking cheap these days. Of course I could make one, but there's a lot more work in that than you'd imagine. That's a cast part. Boys are just fucking throwing them onto machines and then pushing a button, and the CNC cutters coming in and fucking spitting these things out one every 5 minutes maybe, yeah. To make that by hand is hours of work, unless you're doing it all day and you can get into a rhythm, yeah. So what I'm wanting to do here is replace the bearings on these motors, because there was a tight spot in it. It's not bad, the motor seems to run okay, but every so often she seems to get a bit there maybe, I don't know. Anyway, there is I want to inspect the bearings anyway before I put everything back together, and it's all going to get stripped and painted and cleaned anyway, so I may as well inspect the bearings while I'm at it. So, what next? Oh yeah, I did a sort of slight, a little design here. I was thinking about making a pullers that would bear on this underside surface. Yeah, there'd be a lot less risk of doing damage to the pulley that way. So I was wanting it like as a sort of collar arrangement to clamp tight, but not bear on the shaft, and then have a sort of jacking screw in the middle, you know, coming up from the middle here with a bar, and then a couple of bars connecting it to the clamping arrangement down here at the bottom. So this is where I'd got into, you know, I was just sort of pissing about at it last night. I was going to make it out a bit of 10mm thick plate, two bits like this bolted together, and then with 2 holes drilled down through the middle. Whether or not I'd tap them or just leave them blank for bolts, I haven't decided. You know, obviously make this hole in the centre here with a clearance. I measured the shaft. The shaft is 17mm, so I was going to give it a mil clearance. Hadn't gotten as far as making, you know, designing a jack and a plate and the connecting rods, but that was what I was going to try to do, and I think that would be a better solution than what I've got here, because I'm not putting any pressure with this sort of design. I wouldn't be putting any pressure on fragile surfaces like here. Yeah, you know, it'll take a bit of pressure, but you know, they will crack. Yeah, and you've got to be careful of that. So this is what I want to do, but I don't have the material, you know. I was digging around in my scrap bin, and this is the best I could come up with, you know. I know from previous use that I don't know what kind of steel this is made of, but it's guy soft. It's no, you know, it bends fairly readily, so it's not really suitable for the purpose. But it's all I got. Trials and tribulations of Scots Fury, So yeah, that's 12 minutes already, folks. I'll leave it at that now. I'll give you an update next week, maybe, if I'm feeling like it. Really can't be fucked up now, you know, the weather's quite nice and I would rather be out on a motorbike. Right. Once again, hope you're all well and happy and good spirits, making plenty of money, blah blah blah. Catch you soon. Bye for now.